Well, hi, everybody. Thank you for joining today. My name is Michael Lina. I'm the Director of Sales for 2 Data Analytics, and I'm joined today by one of my colleagues, Mike Demon, who is our Director of Client Services. And we are joined by a very special guest, Bob Woodard, who is the President of JRBT, an accounting and tax planning firm located in Waco, Texas. Today is our very first webinar in our new monthly webinar series, and we are extremely excited that Bob agreed to be our first guest. So Bob, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. In today's topic, we'll be discussing how firm leaders gain real-time visibility into performance using our CPAGrades platform. And then we'll go ahead and show you a brief showing of what that platform looks and feels like. Now, this is not a sales pitch. This is simply a peer-led conversation showing practical real-world examples of how Bob and his team leverage our dashboards to gain better insights into his firm's performance while alleviating some of the manual effort in generating some of those insights and reporting. Before we get started, I just want to mention that if you do have a question throughout the presentation, just go ahead and click on the Q&A tab on the right-hand side, type in your comment and click send. We will have a brief Q&A at the end of the presentation, and we'll answer some of those questions. Also, this is being recorded, so everybody that registered today is going to receive a copy as well. Now, to data, we are a data analytics and business intelligence company. We help teams pull data from fragmented systems into a single dashboard, giving leadership one clear source of truth. We connect to systems that you're already using, for instance, your practice management software, your CRM, your general ledger or accounting software, HR, workflow, and a lot more. And then we turn all that data into clear real-time insight without the manual reporting. Today, we are focused on CPAGrades, which is built specifically for accounting firms. It brings production, profitability, and operational data into one place so firm leaders can make decisions faster and with more confidence. Now, this session today is really directed towards managing partners of firms, CFOs, COOs, any leaders within the firm that are responsible for profitability and performance, and anybody responsible really for reporting within that organization. So if that is your job title or something that you do on a regular, then you're in the right place today. The reporting reality for firm leaders today, what does that look like? Data lives across multiple systems, right? And it's tough to pull together different reports, static reports, and by the time you do that, the data is probably a little bit dated. And a lot of that requires manual efforts and follow-ups. And so what we're trying to do is alleviate that and make it a lot easier for you. So why this becomes a leadership problem? Profitability becomes reactive instead of proactive. Decision making is delayed, which can erode confidence within the firm. Bob, our special guest today, he is the president and CEO of JRBT. He's been in the business for over 30 years. I believe you started as an intern at the firm, if that's right, Bob.
I did. We won't say what year, but yes, I started as an intern here.
JRBT is definitely a leader within their industry. It's a 100-year-plus-year-old firm, and they just made the Inside Public Accounting top 200 firms, which is the first, but they've been in the top 300 for the last 3+ years. Is that right, Bob?
Yep, correct.
Anything you'd like to kind of talk about or briefly say, Bob, before we get in into this?
No, I just I mean, we'll know we get into some questions, but just looking forward to the ability to kind of let everybody know kind of what CPAGrades has done for JRBT and how we've evolved. I took over 4 years ago from a managing partner who was the managing partner for 26 years, and so obviously a lot of changes have happened in those 4 years and changing generational concepts and how we work and how we present information, and CPAGrades has helped me and our leadership team in that transition. So
that's great. Well, let's just hop right into it, yep. Bob. First question: what sparked your firm to look into business intelligence platform like ours?
Well, for those on the call, you're probably gonna relate to this very well, but I will tell you our number one reason was CCH. We're a CCH shop, and so we have CCH practice management. I think those of you who are in Thompson have a similar pain point in that running a report is painful at best. It's probably worse than one of your worst clients in getting data out of your practice management software, and we continued to struggle with that. The timeliness, the amount of time it took, you had to be an expert in reports to get anything out of there. And even when you did, it was really old data usually, and it became stale. And we need today in 2000, when we started this a couple of years ago, but now even more in 2026, we got to know data now. And that's what really got us to figuring out how do we get data, not only in my hands as the managing partner, but in our leadership, our management team, making them understand that the numbers, getting the numbers in a way that they can decipher them quickly and move on, and not spending an inordinate amount of time, but quickly seeing a snapshot of where their client practice is and where things are that they need to have attention to from a business standpoint, as opposed to waiting until we give them reports a month later.
Very nice. What did reporting look like for your firm before you guys started using our platform? What was that?
Yeah. So, one of the to be honest, there wasn't any. I mean, I'd been a partner for a few years. I made partner in 2010, and I would say for 5 to 10 years, I didn't even know what my book of business was. We just didn't have the reporting. It was a little bit secretive. It was a little bit, if you need to know, we'll let you. That had eventually migrated to where we were kind of getting, again, a monthly report, but it would probably be the end of the next month. And sometimes it was useful. It wasn't, it was cumbersome. The data came out in a lot of detail that was hard to summarize. It was hard to review. It was in Excel or it was on paper. And it just became so burdensome to look at that most people were taking the reports they were getting and throwing them in the shred bin because it just wasn't worth the time and the effort. And so therefore we really didn't have a very good handle on where we were until me, the managing partner, came to a partner meeting and said, okay, this is where we're at, in terms of overall. But as far as each individual person knowing, we'd give it to them, but they'd pretty much, again, and most of your CCH or Thompson customers know, it's just not very well done. And it's so hard to get that data out. It's in a presentable manner. To someone who doesn't want to spend hours and hours looking at it, they got clients to handle. And I don't need them spending hours. I need them to be able to quickly look, and they'd have to dig too hard.
So what changed, I guess, from a reporting standpoint, and what did CPAGrades allow you guys to do, not only from a leadership standpoint, but also down line?
Yeah, first of all, as a leader, I will tell you the first thing was I immediately, literally every single day, as the data sinks in every morning, I can now kind of see where we're at. I can see what payments, I can see what clients owe us. I can see how many days they're outstanding. I can sort it by partner. I can sort it by bill manager. I can sort all those different things. Where's the WIP? Who needs to bill WIP? Who hasn't billed in the firm? And who do I need to ping? And I can do that in a moment's notice, and every single day it updates. So I don't have to wait till next month to find out from my operations manager who's billed and who hasn't. I can literally see it. So from a managing partner standpoint, I can see that. But in addition, I can see where are we at? What's our realization look like? What's our gross profit look like? Whose book of business is growing compared to last year? Whose is shrinking? And so I'm able to see that literally in a moment's time. And I know y'all are going to show some of the highlights of it here in a minute, but it's at my fingertips. But what we did, and we made the decision to push this out to not only all of our partners, but all of our management team. So all of our managers and all of our partners see every bit of this, and it has really helped them understand when I get frustrated and I'm sending out, hey, you need to bill, they can see it themselves. They also can see where they stand compared to their peers. Where am I? We always have managers who think, oh, I've been loaded down so much and I do so much more than everybody else. But then now they can see it. And if they are, they know it. But if they're not, they can see that, hey, there's others that I really do have a ways to go. And so it's spurred a little bit of, in our office, some healthy competition that, hey, this is where I'm at. This is where my peer is next door to me. I want to do a little bit better, or I've got to raise that realization up because others are, I'm behind the curve, I'm behind the average, and we've gotten a culture where people are looking at it, they're utilizing it on a daily basis, and it's so easy because you can click through, and then as you'll see in a minute, the reports, it take hours to do all the reports that I can click through in literally 5 minutes. I can get through all of it as a manager.
That actually brings up another question which is probably something people are curious of from like a revenue profitability standpoint. What advantages, I guess, are you able to have now?
Yeah, so what we can do is we can look, and I can at a moment's notice and quickly, and don't have to spend a lot of time building these reports to know where is my realization, where is my gross profit, where are my problem areas, who do I need to get with to maybe coach up. It's really easier now for me to kind of pinpoint, okay, Joe, your realization's gone down a little bit. Let's talk about why, what's happened. And so I can have real data to have that conversation, not even necessarily in an evaluation, but it can be in an evaluation meeting or a performance review, but just a real-time discussion with him and literally looking at it, and it's right there, and we can have a conversation. Well, this client left, or this client got bought out, or hey, we had this problem in this engagement, and it's really been able to have be able to have an easier time have an honest conversation, which has led to, in our whole firm, realization has gone up over the last 2 years. I hopefully will say it's not only because of CPAGrades. I know that you guys would say absolutely it's 100% because of CPAGrades. I think it's a lot of things, but I think one of the reasons is because of the transparency, giving these people data. As we have a younger generation, they crave data. They have data on their phone at all times and anything they want in the world, but yet we're withholding it, the CPA industry, withholding that information. They've not used it for bad. I don't see where it's been a bad use of the data. It's an understanding of the data, and they can use that to help themselves. And that's, I think, individually, which has taken our whole firm to rise up a little bit. And I think this is one of the key tools they've used and we've used to help us do that.
Oh, that's great. Well, and I will preface that Bob and his team are what we call a power user, and they've done an amazing job getting adoption across the firm, because really at the end of the day, that's what really drives things forward a lot quicker, is when a lot more people can access and see where they stand, like you said, next to their peers, and are they keeping up with pace? Are they falling behind? Are they obviously, you probably have partners throughout various stages of their careers, and some that are more concerned with maintaining their clientele rather than growing it. But you guys have done a great job adopting it within your firm, and that's what we strive for, right? Just to try to move the needle.
Well, I think the key, I just real quick, I'd add to that. I think the key is having, one, leadership, myself being keyed into this and believing this is a tool that can help, but also reminding people that they need to be in here, and kind of giving them the tools and the reminders of, hey, let's go back over this and refresh what you should be looking at, because there is a lot of data in it. It is a ton of data, and how should they look at it? And be sure you give them the tools so that they can be successful. Let's just say a brand new manager getting in here, seeing this data for the first time, it's overwhelming. And making sure you have someone that's willing to sit down with them and explain to them, let's take this one bite at a time. You don't need to understand everything here, but let's figure out the things we need to going forward. And that has helped us have a lot more buy-in from our management team of utilizing it.
Well, and I'll not to get off track here, obviously, from the questions, but I do appreciate your comment with, the younger generation, because, those people my age, data is so easily accessible and it's instantaneous anymore. It's in the palm of your hand, right? So that is the expectation of our generation, my generation, and younger. It's, hey, we want to, why are we doing things maybe in an Excel? Why are we printing stuff?
Yeah.
So it's
and I think that they, in the past, I know whenever I was a young staff person, I had questions too, and I wanted to know answers, but I understood at that time, look, it is what it is, and I'm going to move on. And I don't believe this new generation, the younger folks, they accept that. It's not acceptable, because they have all that data in their phone immediately at all times. It's important to be sure that they understand that they have to be a part of this. And it's not, you may be, there was some skepticism from my partner group. Are we sure we want managers to see all this data? Because it's a lot. Yeah. I believe they've used it to good, and that they've really bought in that this is a way I can make a difference at JRBT by pulling my weight to be sure I'm doing what I can so that I meet the expectations of my peer group and my partners. And I think the partners have used it to help them, because they can also use it to help manage their managers. So they can see the data they can get with their managers very quickly, and be able to have a real-time conversation that I just talked about earlier with Joe, that, hey, where are we at here? So it's not all on me. This is really, the entire management group can be doing that.
Yeah, it sounds like it kind of also helps with accountability, right? Yeah. And making sure that, hey, I'm doing things the right way. Even another question that pops into my mind, did it help from an internal data entry standpoint? Did it help you guys maybe become better at making sure, hey, I'm notating things accurately? I'm any comment on that, Bob?
Yeah, I think, I will, I'm not exactly sure, but what came to mind immediately is the work that I would do. And I will admit, I'm a little bit of a data nerd. I'm an accountant. So we accountants like data a lot of the time. And so I was running some reports and hand keying some things into, I didn't like how CCH it looked. And so I was trying to summarize. And this kind of goes to the last question on the screen. We haven't really asked yet, but I'm going to jump ahead. And what we had was, I would do a billing report out of CCH practice management that then I would compare last year to this year every month to see where everybody stood. And to data, CPAGrades did not have that. And so I eventually, and it was taking me, it takes a few hours a month. It's not a huge commitment, but it was a commitment that I would do, and I would run the report and be able to review it. And I asked Mike, to data and their team, and literally on the call that we had, they built the first part of it in front of us on a Teams call. It took a little, then they went back and their development team, and in a week I had my report. They were pulling it every day out of practice management. And and so instead of getting it once a month or once a quarter, when I got around to doing it, I could have that report every single day if I want it. And and they built that, y'all built that in literally a week's time, less than a week. And then we went over it and we tweaked it and we changed it a little bit. And again, anybody who's been with CCH and Thompson's the same thing, you can put in an enhancement request, and maybe in about 2 or 3 years, they might address it, but they'll probably do it wrong. But the response time has been amazing. And we'll talk about another area of this in the grades that I think we were involved in with you guys too. And in a minute, but it's been really a great experience to be able to allow people to, hey, what about this? And data coming out. There's so much data in your practice management software that you just don't even know how much data is there. And then, but getting to it is such a help to our team.
Yeah, well, that's great. I mean, that's great feedback because, like, there is a lot of data in there. Not only that system, but other systems, and we really strive to try to organize it in a way that makes sense and is practical that
Right.
you can use. Right.
Well, and that's what I was saying earlier. I mean, like I've got my newest manager, Ben. Ben is a guy who's our brand new manager, and for him to have to go in there and learn how to run reports for his practice and his book of business is miserable. It's miserable for everybody, and I don't have to have him do it anymore. I can get this to him, and there's so many different things he can utilize to help in that. So.
Well, that's awesome. Well, great. And Mike, if you tell me, how long have we been working with Bob's firm now?
I think over 3 years now.
Yep.
And Bob, I appreciate your comments. We work with a number of CPA firms, and one of the biggest challenges initially is just getting that buy-in at the leadership level and the willingness to share it with managers and maybe directors. Maybe talk a little bit about, did you have any initial feedback? How did you get through that barrier so that, it does become a tool for the firm? Because I think that's something we can learn as an organization, and perhaps our listeners can as well, because there's fear in giving people access to numbers that they'll look and see how much someone else makes, or it just becomes kind of a slippery slope. But you've certainly eliminated that. So
yeah, we definitely had a lot of conversation about it. And mainly this was done at our executive committee team, which is we have 15 partners in our firm, 16 partners in our firm, and so there were 5 of us who really kind of were the ones that ultimately made the decision to move forward and who would have access and who wouldn't. And it, I really fought for. Because I remember as a manager just having no clue what was going on, and so if I want to be a partner in this firm, how am I going to make a decision if I don't know anything? And guys, if we're going to continue to give, to expect these managers to give everything they give, and let's be honest, in public accounting is a hard job, they're going to give their life and their time with their family to this firm and commit to it for hopefully a lifelong commitment of their career. They've got to know the data before they get in here, not just a trust me, I promise you this will work. Let's give them the data. And luckily my executive team that took over after my managing partner had retired. I'm not sure we would have had, I'll be honest, I hope this doesn't get back to him. I don't think he would have given this access to everyone. And that's just a difference in philosophy. But what we've experienced, and luckily my partner group was like, okay, if this fails, it's on you. And so I was willing to do that, and because I believed in it. I believe that data can really affect people in a positive way. Now, obviously, there are times it can be negative. It can be used as competition. It can be used against us. But what we tried to do is do a lot of training as to why are we giving you this data? Why are we trusting you with this data? And it was really given off as, we're giving you this data because we want the firm to succeed, and you are the future of the firm as a management group and as a group of managers. And we've made you manager, and so therefore we're going to trust you. I don't know of a time yet that has really been a negative to this data. The only negative I can think of is that there have been a couple of instances where people have thought they were in a certain place and they really weren't. And usually it was they thought they were way more, that they had a bigger, they were bigger, badder, stronger than everybody. And then they got in there and realized maybe I'm not. And so I don't think it was negative that way. I think it was just an eye-opening experience for them to understand that, okay, maybe I do have a little more ways to go. Or maybe I don't have the same that I thought, but everybody's seeing the same data. And you mentioned, Mike, about what this person, obviously there's no salary information. There's no firm financials data in there other than the WIP, what we build. There is some cost data in there. So if you really wanted to back into it, because we do get some gross, what the cost per hour is, but quite frankly, it's hard to do, and it would be way too time consuming for anyone. I don't think anyone's out there trying to figure out what staff person A makes, and we haven't had anything that's even come close to that. But what we have had is an eye-opening experience of, wow, that person's getting this kind of realization or that kind of gross profit. I need to step it up, and I need to be better. And I think it has created a very nice, healthy competition in our firm to see this is where we want to go. And it's also allowed me as the managing partner to give goals and say, you have the data, go look at it. And where do you need to be in your goals? It's been very helpful for us.
Yeah, that's great. That's great feedback, Bob. And one thing too to add, Mike, maybe this is better for you to add to or comment on, but we don't just leave you, give you the keys to the Ferrari and tell you, hey, go have fun. We stay up. We continuously talk to our clients. Every month we have a check-in to make sure that we're meeting your needs and things are working properly, and also from a training aspect. Mike, I don't know if you want to add anything.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously it's a journey, and Bob mentioned it earlier, but his firm has been instrumental in the growth of our platform. We've made some changes that weren't there, that weren't in the system before JRBT, and having conversations like that, monthly, weekly, whatever really the cadence is that the client needs, we'll do that, because user adoption and just having access to the data so that it's meaningful for each firm is critical to our success. And kudos to JRBT and to Bob and his leadership team, because they are the highest utilizers of the dashboard. We love to see it. So we certainly want to be able to learn why and how he's been able to make such a huge impact inside the organization, because we can share that with other groups as well.
Mm-hmm. Let me just add to that. I mean, what I would tell you, and I already mentioned this, but with Mike and his team and others in the team, when we did have some significant issues with some of the things early on that were, hey, this is data, but it's not data we can use. The way it's being presented is not being successful with our team. And to Data's credit, they were very willing to say, okay, let's have a meeting. And one of my partners, who is really, really good at data and data scrubbing and really kind of visionary of that, worked with them. And we assisted giving feedback as to how we could revamp and make that be more utilized by the professional. And that, I would tell you, the audience here, go, if you have, if you do think this is a platform that can help you, reach out to what you think, hey, our firm needs this, and I will guarantee you that the group will do what they can to make sure it works for you, because they did for us. And it might mean that the whole platform needs to change, that nobody said. We're so conditioned, again, I'm going to go back and pick on CCH. We're so conditioned to, okay, send something, the CCH tells you to send in an enhancement request and it goes into a black hole. And then that's not what we've experienced here. The response time will get fixed. It will get fixed. And what you need, it may need a customization. You may need to have something that's different, and they'll let you know that, and they let us know that. Billing comparison report that I talked about, we built that for us, and we had them, or they built it for us, and we understood exactly, and they were very transparent as this is what it's going to be, and that's exactly what it cost us. And it wasn't expensive in our opinion, and we get way more out of it than whatever we paid to have it done. And so I think it is important to know that we felt heard throughout the entire process, and still can. I mean, I think we reached out to Mike a few weeks ago about something, and we're working on it. So it's in a good place, and we feel like the data is important. The data has to be right, and the team does a good job of making sure that we get what we need.
Well, we appreciate all that, and we absolutely value your partnership, and yeah, we look forward to continue working with you guys into the future. And yeah, we appreciate all the improvements you've helped us make throughout the years too. Um, why is this important, right? The whole idea is to unify these fragmented systems into one single dashboard, giving you real-time intelligence, so that you don't have to create a report monthly, every 30 days, right? You can go in on a daily basis and see where you are at, where your team's at. Not only Mike is going to jump into the platform here in a second, but not only are we looking at the finance part of things, but we also look at the employee and where are they spending their time, right? Because if they're spending time buried in data or entering manual data entry, it takes time away from prospecting and growing. So, Mike, do you want to stop sharing my screen here?
Appreciate it. So what I'm going to do is just kind of give you a visual of our dashboard and kind of really help show you what Bob's talking about. Now, Bob may look at this and say, this doesn't look like our dashboard, and he's right. We've migrated to a new app, and part of the migration is because we've added Todd, who's our little AI analyst, built in the dashboard specifically trained on your data. We're working with our current clients to migrate them over, and we're going to get Bob's group up and running hopefully in the next 30 to 45 days. But our goal with Bob's group, as well as all of our current clients, is to get the new app with all of the reports that they currently have in use. So it's taken a little bit longer than we'd anticipated, but we're excited about it. But for those of you who've never seen CPAGrades before, the implementation process is really simple. We work with CCH, Practice ERP, Practice Engine, Thompson, and quite frankly, the goal to implement and stand up this solution is ideally a 5-minute, 10-minute phone call with you and the right individuals to gain access to the data. Once the data is flowing over, there's really nothing else you have to do. Our engineers go to work, build this dashboard, and then when it's ready, we sit down with a small group in your firm, walk through it, make sure everything looks good, and then we discuss how you want to roll it out to the firm. So this is the landing page, and one thing I'll call out is we really focus on WIP transaction date, because the goal is that any data you see, you want to be able to act on it, be more proactive rather than reactive. And then you're going to see these KPIs across the top where it's going to give you an idea of how many clients had WIP during this time range, your AR, your realization, your gross profit. All of those KPIs are front and center to really help drive discussion, drive change, and get involved when needed. In the middle, we're showing you your top 10 invoiced year to date and any outstanding invoices that exist beyond just year to date. And these little tooltips are embedded throughout to give you an idea of what exactly makes up this invoice, where the services have been, who is the right person, or who is the individual that is in charge of the account. On the left side here, we're going to jump in and just kind of give you a nice client snapshot. The number of clients that were billed during this time period, total hours. We're always pulling in the prior year to give you an understanding of where you're at from a standpoint of last year to this year during this particular date range. Hang on one second here. I apologize. Hopefully you can still see the screen.
We can, yep.
Great, sorry. I was on the wrong dashboard. But this gives you a high-level overview of your client portfolio during this time period. And I'll focus really on the middle because there's a lot of flexibility to drill down. Right now, you're seeing that 10,000 foot level. If you really wanted to look at just all billable work, you just simply one click the button, and you can look at your work by category code, subcategory code, all the way down to the service level description. And this kind of gives you that insight and visibility by invoice, number of hours, your gross profit, and even down to the WIP level. If you wanted to look at your firm based on tax services, simply click on that, and you can see that everything, all the KPIs update. We're going to be able to track where your work is being done, whether it's by line of business, industry, or any other thing that you have outlined in your practice management system. And then on the bottom, we're going to really give you that client overview. So if you group your clients, you have maybe a holding company that has 10 other groups, we can show you what the work is being done over that time period, by hours, production, write up, write down, invoice amount, cost, and then gross profit and down to realization. If you wanted to look at it individually as a client, you can do the same and just click on client. Now we're going to give you your full roster of clients. And then if you want, we found this to be useful for our groups. If they have an upcoming client meeting or they've got a call with the client, simply click on the client detail page. Now you have a great profile of what's happening with this particular group. Employees that have recorded WIP against this, where the work has been done, realization, any WIP. And then on the bottom, we're going to kind of give you an overview of the receivables, what's outstanding and how long they take to pay. So it just gives you that insight and visibility at the client level or even at the client group level. And then lastly, I'll just mention that you can toggle and show this by, you can stratify it by or slice it by partner. So this partner doesn't have any, let's see here. So now we're looking just at Mara, her book of business, and all of the clients that she is the partner for. So it really gives you flexibility to see it at the 10,000 foot level or look at it from an individual perspective. And we can add slicers, whether you want to have just partners, bill managers, managers, directors, a lot of flexibility to do that. And if you, the employee page, and what you'll notice is both the employee and client page look similar. We want people to feel comfortable. You'll see that it's kind of flipped because now we're looking at, instead of clients down here, we're looking at employees, but it still tells you that same data story from left to right. You know, how many employees with WIP, the billable hours, what was invoiced, your gross profit. In the center here kind of gives you a visual of where the work is being done by category or subcategory. And then this gives you a nice visual of kind of where the invoiced amount is by staff level. If you wanted to look at what your managers have done during this particular time period, you simply click on that and everything else updates accordingly. And like the client page, you can, you know, drill down to kind of see where the work is being done all the way down to the service level category for an employee, and tells that same left to right story that we talked about in the client page. And like the client page, you can kind of get a nice employee overview. Great for conversations with employees, great for reviews, touch points. This really gives an overview of all the work that this employee has done during this time period, any WIP she or he may have outstanding, and kind of those KPIs scattered right here down in the middle. Couple other areas.
Oh,
Go ahead.
Sorry, keep going. I apologize. No, keep going.
No, you know, Bob touched on WIP, and you know, WIP is the bane of every accounting firm's existence. This page really gives you an idea of not only what your WIP is, but where is it? Are there any bottlenecks in services or categories or subcategory codes that perhaps maybe require a little bit more attention? And just as important, who does the WIP lie with? You know, here's a client that lists the clients and, more importantly, the employees that are responsible for all this WIP. So you can have that conversation. Go to Mara and say, hey, there's 37,000 in WIP. What do you need from me or our firm to help get this out the door and build? You have a question, Michael, or comment?
No, I was just gonna say, I know we talked about giving access, across the entire team, but I just wanted to touch on that you do have control of who gets to see
Yeah.
what.
Yes, yeah. We have the ability to implement kind of what's called role level security. So we can certainly give the partners full access, but if you wanted to limit certain views to managers or directors, we can work with you so that when they log in, if they don't have that permission, then that won't be available to them on the dashboard. And so I'll kind of quick jump through the receivables and payments page, but again, giving you visibility into what are your receivables, how old are they? Looking at it from a standpoint, we've worked with a lot of groups that use this as a vehicle to kind of clean up their books, write off stuff that is more than 120 days, sometimes 2 years old, 3 years old. So it really allows for clean data and a data governance understanding. But this gives you that kind of high level overview as to where you're at as a firm and what are the average days in receivable. On the bottom here, you can see we've got it by month. We have groups we were able to put in by partner, by industry amount, by industry type. So there's a lot of flexibility in what you're seeing here today. This is just kind of our out-of-the-box solution that a majority of our firms ask, but we've done a lot of changes to kind of accommodate exactly what benefits and what resonates most with the firm.
Like, let me jump in right here as a managing partner. That screen with the AR is so much better than putting out AR lists to your partners and managers of saying, and then telling them, let me know where you're at with your. This is really easy. You can see 121 days. That top client there that has a huge amount over 120, and it's just Sally, why in the world do we have this? How can we remedy it? And it's so much easier as a managing partner to go through your group and see where's our pain points in AR. We all deal with it. We all have clients that don't pay us, and this has made it a lot easier. We've reduced our AR over 120 significantly. A lot of reasons, and one of them is the transparency that the dashboards give us.
Thanks, Bob. That's a great point. And again, you probably have your footprint all over some of these changes in dashboards. And
some of my partners and managers probably hate me for it, but I do have the data, and it doesn't lie. It doesn't lie.
No, yeah, and that's kind of a great segue to grades, which is really how we got our name. It's an acronym that stands for gross profit realization, age of the client, days to pay, expense per hour, and seasonality of the work. And we think it's important to provide you with kind of a unemotional, take out the emotions of grading your clients. And so we're able to, depending on, if you want to focus on gross profit realization or days to pay, right now we're on an unweighted scale, which means all of these 6 KPIs are weighted equally. And we take your book of business and grade them against each other so that you can kind of see who are the A's, B's, and C's, and more importantly, who are your F's? Every year we hear that firms meet at the end of the year to kind of go over their client profile, and emotions get involved. And this really takes the emotions out of having a conversation with your client to say, hey, you're an F, and here's why. We'll continue to work with you, but some things have to change. Or more importantly, you see something that surprising, I didn't realize that client was an A-. Maybe we need to provide a little bit more attention and some service to keep them where they're at. So this has been a tool that has continued to evolve, and I will say firsthand that Bob's team has been very instrumental in getting to where we are today with the grades. Now, I just want to spend a couple minutes, this has been our labor of love for the last 12 months. The dashboard, it provides a ton of information, but as we continue to work with accounting firms, and we realize that we're not going to be able to present everything that you need every day. We think it's a great starting point, but we've integrated Todd AI. Todd is our little data analyst that sits in a fenced-in environment and is trained solely on your data only. He doesn't train the outside world. There's no cross-contamination of data. But what Todd does is allows you to either look at the dashboard, and if you have a question about the data or you're looking at a report, you can simply ask him any question, and if it's in the database, he'll provide you with a response. So I've been playing around with this for 6 months, and so what if you just wanted to ask, who were the top 5 revenue generating clients for 2025. So one thing you'll notice is it's a 3-step process. He's going to read the scheme, he's going to collect the data, and then he's going to process and then provide you with a response. And the response is really going to first say, here's how I interpreted your question. So he's going to reissue the question. Here's what I found, and then give you key insights, and then ask you to prompt a follow-up. So would you like to see these top 5 by realization rates? I always like to say, can you show me 2024 clients by revenue? Todd is going to continue to evolve. He can make charts, he can make graphs, he can do line charts. So you can see, again, now we're looking at 2024, the revenue generating clients, and going to give you a response, some insights, and then would you like to compare these results directly? So I'm going to say yes, compare them side by side. It's kind of like having a chat GPT in a secure environment that allows you to kind of get that additional insight if you get into a wormhole, or as my kids would call it, doom scroll. But it really is there to help supplement and provide additional insight into the report as it stands today. So that's kind of a 10,000-foot level, quick overview. Again, this Mike mentioned early on, this isn't a sales pitch, but I wanted to kind of give you a visibility into what Bob is accessing and how he uses it. And I'll just kind of kick it back over to you, Michael.
No, thank you, Mike. That was super helpful, and we can customize this, make different customizations within the platform too, if what you saw is not necessarily what's important to you. So that was great. We'll do some Q&A here quick, and then we'll get out of here. So it looks like first question: if we are already using Power BI to generate reports, can you create those same custom reports within this tool? And the answer is yes. Yes, we can.
Yeah, I would say part of, and I think that goes along with what Bob talked about early on during our implementation, is understanding what it is you're using today and what reports what you've relied on, and then how can we take that and automate it and make it better and more accessible. So yeah, understanding what you're using today will allow us to kind of create and develop a solution that resonates with your firm.
Thank you, Mike. How do you guys charge? Is it per seat, or can anyone in the firm have access? I can take this one. We charge one single price across the firm. We do not charge by seat. The emphasis behind that is that we want everybody, as many people within the firm, to adopt the software and use it on a daily basis. So let's see here.
It's a monthly subscription. It's a monthly subscription, unlimited users, and typically a 12-month contract with renewal. But if it's not working for you or your firm, knock on wood, we've been very fortunate and have about a 98% retention rate, because we believe that if you start using it, it's going to be difficult to walk away because it just saves so much time.
Yep.
Thank you, Mike. Let's see, what size firms do you guys typically work with? JRBT is much larger than our firm. Do you work with smaller teams? And the answer,
yeah, I mean, we've got firms that have our JRBT size. Our largest firm is 1,500. Our smallest firm is less than 20. So we really, I hate to say size doesn't matter, because it doesn't. It's all about access to data and your pain points. Are your pain points such that this tool could really help? And we found that whether you're a 10-person firm or a 1,500-person firm, there's value for anybody on that spectrum.
all right. Well, it looks like that is the last of them. I'll just end with this. If you'd like to get a hold of us to demo the product for your team, you can either send me an email. You can visit our website as well, www.2data.com, and you can schedule a demo on there. And we're also going to email out the recording. So you can just respond back to my email, and I'd be happy to meet with you guys. Just want to lastly thank you, Bob, again for joining today. Really appreciate you helping us get this off the ground. And yeah,
we appreciate. I mean, I appreciate the opportunity. It has changed our firm for the better, and I'm glad to. Hopefully, others can see the value of the data getting out there and how much it can really improve your team and visibility and the viability of your firm. So we think it's been a positive for our over the last 2 or 3 years. So
yeah, and I would say
so much.
The same. Ahead, yeah. Thanks, Michael. Thanks, Bob. You've been great to work with.
Thank you.
Well, that's a wrap, everybody. Thank you for joining today. We will send out our next series, communication and the registration for the next monthly webinar series. And we hope that we can see you there. Thank you, everybody, and have a wonderful day.